I'm Sarah, a 25-year-old office worker. My childhood was marked by poverty, and I know what it's like to go to bed hungry. My dad's salary was barely enough to cover rent, and my mom was too sick to work. There were 4 of us, my dad, mom, sister, and me. We survived on stale bread, and there were days when it felt like we were just getting by. Everything changed for me when I learned about finance in middle school. I joined an after-school program that taught me that education was the key to making money. That idea sparked a fire in me. I promised myself that I would study hard, earn a lot of money, and take care of my family. I focused every bit of my energy on studying, determined not to follow the same path my parents had been on. My dad used to joke, saying that if I couldn't make a lot of money, I might as well die trying. But unlike most kids, I took my studies seriously and achieved perfect grades, which made my mom so proud. Her happiness pushed me to keep going. I earned a scholarship to high school, and after that, I worked hard enough to attend university without having to pay tuition. I eventually got a job at a large company. At first, I felt like a fish out of water, since I had only studied my whole life. But I realized that just being smart wasn't enough. Effort didn't always guarantee results, and it was important to apply what I knew in a meaningful way at work. My colleagues appreciated my drive. They'd say things like, "You're really hardworking, Sarah. I admire how much you fight for what you love." And some even asked me to teach them what I knew. At work, I became an interesting figure because of my humble background and resilience. My stories about growing up poor fascinated them, and they often asked me to share more. Even though my family didn't have much, we were always happy. My mom made beautiful clothes and accessories, which we proudly wore to school. My sister eventually followed in her footsteps and enrolled in fashion school. We might have been poor, but we were rich in love and creativity. One day, I shared a story about how my sister and I brought home leftovers from school to give to our parents, and everyone at work found it amazing. That's when I began to feel truly appreciated for who I was, not just for my achievements. Everything felt perfect until I met Ethan at a company party. He was charming, handsome, and surprisingly down to earth. I didn't expect much from the evening, but we ended up chatting, and he seemed genuinely interested in me. As we talked, he mentioned that he admired my journey from poverty to success and said I had a unique charm. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just laughed it off. After that night, we kept running into each other at work. Eventually, Ethan asked me out to dinner, and we became closer. He treated me like a queen, thoughtful and kind. I started to feel safe and happy with him, and after a while, he told me he had feelings for me. I was both surprised and happy, so I said yes, and we started dating. 3 years later, Ethan proposed. I was so overjoyed that I said yes immediately. We were ready to take the next step, so Ethan suggested we meet each other's families. My family was thrilled when they met him. Ethan even said, "Your parents are like peas in a pot," which made me smile. It was now time for me to meet his parents, and I was nervous. His family lived in a mansion, and I wanted to make a good impression. I spent extra time on my appearance, getting my hair done and applying makeup, just to make sure I looked my best. After my mom and sister gave me their approval, I left the house feeling confident. When we arrived at Ethan's parents' mansion, everything felt different. The wealth and grandeur were overwhelming, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was an outsider. His family welcomed me warmly, but the tension in the air was palpable. I had worked so hard to get to where I was, but here, it felt like none of that mattered. I found out that Ethan's dad was the CEO of a large company, and their family was incredibly wealthy. That probably explained why Ethan seemed so different from the start. I first met him when he pressed the doorbell to his family's house, and his mom answered. "Ethan, welcome home. Is this your fiancé?" she asked. "It's nice to finally meet you." "I'm Sarah," I replied. She gave me a quick glance before inviting us inside. I didn't expect her to like me right away, but I knew I had to try. His mom led us into their grand living room where his dad was already seated on the sofa. "I'm glad you're here. Please take a seat," his father said politely, though there was a tense air in the room, like I was being interviewed for a job. "I'm Ethan's father. I run a company called 5X, he added. His parents liked to brag about their success and status, and it was clear they took pride in their wealth. "Sarah, you work at the same company as Ethan, don't you? That means you must be exceptional," his father continued. "She's the most promising employee in the company." "She was an honor student in both high school and college," Ethan chimed in, proud of me. I felt a bit embarrassed by his praise, and his mom, maybe feeling a little jealous, said something that took me by surprise. It doesn't matter how smart you are. Your face, she paused, giving me a once-over. You're a little too plain. Ethan and I were both stunned. What are you talking about, Mom? Ethan was furious. His mother didn't care and continued. I'm just telling you the truth. You'll take over your father's company one day, so the woman you marry must look beautiful. Her words only made Ethan angrier. What is this? That's ridiculous. I love her for who she is, no matter what she looks like. She's not bad looking at all. Apologize to her. Ethan was demanding an apology, while his father seemed just as upset. How dare you speak to your parents like that? Can't you see your mother is concerned for you? We don't want an unattractive woman in this family. We won't allow this marriage. His father waved his hand dismissively. What's wrong with you, Dad? I don't need your permission. I'm marrying her whether you like it or not. Ethan stood his ground, but his parents kept pushing, saying cruel things about me. You're just being fooled by her. She may not be pretty, but she's smart. She's manipulating you like a con artist. How could someone like you be with a man like Ethan? They sneered. Their insults stung, and I was filled with anger, but I tried to remain calm. I understand. I'll leave now, I said, though their words still hurt. But you've insulted both my family and me. Please, never get involved with us again. It would be a waste, even if you begged us, they laughed coldly. I ignored their rudeness and said, sorry to have bothered you, before leaving. Ethan followed me out, clearly upset. I'm really sorry about my parents. Don't worry, you were just trying to stand up for me. But they were so rude to you. I'm really disappointed in them. Lately, my dad's been acting like a tyrant at work. He doesn't get along with his employees. I think he's gotten too arrogant. My mom's always been like that, so I don't think she'll ever change. I was grateful that Ethan turned out to be a good person despite his parents' behavior. By the way, that thing you said about not getting involved with your family. I started. He nodded. Yeah, I meant it. I was really angry when they insulted you. But if you don't want me to, I won't. Go ahead, they deserve it. You should give them a piece of your mind. I got his approval and went ahead with my plan. I was in the CEO's office at my company when the phone rang. Dad, do you think he's going to call soon? I asked. I hope so. Oh, here it is. My dad answered the call and put it on speaker. Hello, came the voice on the other end. What happened? You suddenly want to cancel the contract. It's a shame, but I have a good reason to do so, my dad said. What's the reason? You insulted my daughter and my family. You're Ethan's dad, right? My dad continued. Oh, I heard you treated my daughter badly when she visited. Oh my God, Sarah is your daughter? The man stammered. Yes, she's my sweet, precious daughter. Are you calling her ugly? My dad's voice was firm, and the man began to panic. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to apologize. You don't have to apologize, my dad said coldly. I won't accept it. I don't care what you said about me, but I'll never forgive you for insulting my daughter. My company is ending this contract right now. No. If such a big company pulls out, what will happen to mine? The man pleaded. That's not my problem, my dad replied. Just live with integrity and stop judging people by their looks. With that, he hung up. I felt a sense of relief. Thank you, Dad, I said, my voice a little shaky. I feel better now. Ethan, who had been quietly listening, said, No, don't apologize to me for causing trouble for my father. I'm glad you stood up to him. Ethan then shared more about his family. Actually, my dad runs an IT company now. He's a big computer fan and even made his own computers when he was dating my mom. He worked an office job at first, but when she asked him, Isn't there something you really want to do? He quit his job and followed his passion. After my sister was born, he taught computer classes to earn money. Later, he started selling computers to his friends, and as word spread, the business grew. Now the company is big, and they work with other businesses, but he's still the same person. That's why I'm following my dreams, too. No matter how rich we get, we still have the same heart we had when we were poor. Ethan's father was fired when the shareholders found out he had caused the contract to be canceled. He lost his job and became unemployed. His mother didn't admit to her mistakes and kept acting the same, but they ran out of money and had to sell the mansion. One day, Ethan's father came to my dad, crying and begging for forgiveness, but my dad didn't forgive him. My daughter told you never to get involved with us, right? He turned him away. Ethan eventually cut ties with his parents and married into my family. Now, he works hard at my dad's company, hoping to take it over one day. I told him, You don't have to take responsibility. You can do what you really want. He replied, "What I want to do is give you the life where you can keep chasing your dreams." We eventually got married, and now we live a very happy life together. He's a wonderful husband, and I'm thankful for the life we've built. Ethan's parents went too far, and it's a reminder of how focusing too much on success and money can change people. But I'm happy to have found happiness with Ethan, and I wish us a long, happy life together. Thank you for watching until the end. Please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.